rumors are true. Names that are legendary. StockLegends.com.
Hello and welcome to Stock Legends Legendary Training videos. Today we're going to cover the important topics of support and resistance. Now, this particular indicator is probably the most widely used and widely understood technical indicator in technical analysis. And that's because of its extreme importance, and it's a very effective indicator to use. Also, it is probably one of the most easiest ones to understand. Now, we're going to start off by looking at a chart, and we're going to grab our auto support and resistance tool on stockcharts.com. You can go down to the bottom and we're going to draw a support line right around 79 cents. And we use this particular level because we can see that the price has touched this particular level and held it at least on 3 separate occasions. Now, the more times that we touch a particular level, the more intact or the stronger it is as a support or a resistance. Now, support is the action where the demand outstrips supply, or the number of buyers outstrips the number of sellers. We've got more buyers than sellers at a particular price point. The same opposite is true when we're looking at resistance. Resistance is the supply of a particular security outweighs the demand. So we have the opposite effect. We have a downward reaction at a particular price level. And we can look at this particular level, for example, right around $2.68 to $2.64. We have a point where a resistance level was reached, a high point, and on the next move up you can see it also came very close to that particular area before falling back down. So this is probably a location where you'd want to look to sell, because the number of shares, or the number of supply of shares, outstrips the amount of buyers or the demand at that particular price. Now, what's interesting and very important also to know about support and resistance is that when a resistance line is violated, it becomes support, or when a support line is violated, it becomes a resistance. Take a look, for example, at the $1.22 price level. We've used our tool to basically indicate that $1.22 is behaving as a resistance area. You can see that we came up and tested this level twice, so now we can look at it as a potential resistance in the future. Looking forward, once we had a third attempt to break the resistance and it succeeded, we saw a nice price rally to $1.48 where we'll draw our next resistance, and then we had a pullback. And what's interesting to note is that we came back and tested our old resistance and it behaved as support where it had held. We saw another run up and we broke above $1.48, and on the next pullback we saw it behaved as a support level. We came down to $1.52. Now, it's not to say that the levels have to be 100% exact. We need to give it a little bit of room, sometimes a little margin of error. So support can sometimes be a few cents off or a few percentage points off from the resistance. But what's important to know is that these general levels are behaving as support and resistance. We can also see as we go further along in the chart more support at the $1.50 area. Now, it's not to say $1.48 exactly is the support or $1.52 is. We can see lows at $1.49, $1.47, $1.45 in this particular area. You can see this was about an entire year later, and this particular level again is behaving as a support when it was previously a support and previously a resistance. Now, we can also see that right around the $2 area we also have a resistance. You can see we had a spike up to $2.19, at $2.10, $2.09. This is a general resistance area, and once we broke above our particular resistance, you can see that on the way back down it behaved as support. Again, once we broke below support, here's that rule coming into play. We had a very sharp pullback off the support level, and we knew that it would come back up and this particular level would again behave as resistance, and we can see it again and again as resistance. So we've confirmed this particular level numerous times on the support and resistance. Thanks very much for watching, and happy trading.